Hi, everybody. I'm Jay Hartzell. I'm the Dean of the McCombs School of Business and soon to be Interim President of UT. And I'm really happy today to be joined by Brett Biggs. Brett is a ardent supporter of UT and of the McCombs School and is the Executive Vice President and CFO of Walmart. So, Brett, thanks for joining us today.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me.
So we wanted to catch up a little bit on what you've been going through, but just real quickly, high level, I joke that this is a big place, but Walmart's a different scale. How many people, stores? Give us a sense of the scope of what you're dealing with.
Yeah, so we have about 2.3 million associates worldwide, a little over 500 billion in revenue, and over 11,000 stores globally. So that keeps us pretty well busy. I think UT is one though that can probably compare with us on scale.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah. So, we were talking before we got started today that probably none of us expected to be facing what we're facing now a couple months ago. Can you talk a little bit about what you've seen from Walmart's side? You're Executive Vice President and CFO. And so what are you seeing in terms of whether it's purchasing patterns or the supply chain? What have you been facing since this happened?
Yeah, everything changed so quickly and globally. Felt like almost overnight. We were up until, we said this in our earnings release, up until early March, everything felt fairly normal. And then if you went into a Walmart store in March or early April, you saw the stock up of what people were doing in our stores and how those buying patterns changed. And so us having our, pretty much a dedicated supply chain helped immensely in getting everything that we needed into the stores and keeping communities moving, which is what we needed to do. And then the stimulus dollars hit in mid-April and people shifted purchasing more discretionary type items versus food and consumables. And so how our merchants had to deal with that was just changing constantly. Still continues to change, but we've never, I think everybody's used the word unprecedented, an unprecedented amount of time, but we've never seen anything like it as a company, really as a world, I guess.
And what about the way that you're working as a team together? Think about it as one of the leaders of the firm. We're trying to manage or lead or communicate by Zoom now. And so how have you found the leadership role?
It's been so amazing. One, we have our associates in the stores and clubs, which are doing, and the distribution center is doing an unbelievable job. And so our job really here is just to support them. But it's in ways I see my direct reports and I see my team more than I did at times because we're more intentional about getting on Zoom together and spending time together. But we've also gotten to know each other, I think, more as humans and as people with kids and dogs and cats running into conference calls. I think we've gotten to know each other a little better, which is, I think, will help us coming out of this, that those relationships will deepen some.
And are you able to do all these calls with the Texas flag in the background? Is that you're on brand for us?
Anytime I can. I'm actually in my office. I had investor calls today, and so I was in my office, which made it a little easier. And I haven't been in my office much in the last 2.5 months, but I thought having that Texas flag for this call was really appropriate, and have the 05 National Championship football in the background too. So
that's great. Well, I hope we can add another football to your shelf sometime soon.
I would like that.
When I think about a CFO's role, I think often it's making big investment decisions and capital market decisions. How has this changed or helped you? Where is your mind at today in terms of investment and capital?
Yeah, early, say mid-March, the early days in the capital markets in this period felt a lot like 2008. I was assistant treasurer in 2008, and it felt very, very similar, very rocky. Funding was a little more challenging than one would expect, and we kind of got through that in a reasonable amount of time with the government coming in. But as we think about our company long term, first we always want to invest in the business. We spend around $11 billion a year in capital toward growing our business, and I expect that to continue. We want to lean in, and we'll lean in harder in some places coming through this as the customer changes. We're very committed to our dividend. Share repurchase has been a big part of what we do going forward. So I don't see our capital decisions changing that much, other than we'll lean in some places that are really strategic for us, like online grocery. And there'll be places where we come out of this and say, hey, Project X, maybe wasn't something we should have been doing anyway. Let's delay it. Let's stop it. And those decisions, I think, right now are getting made more quickly.
And you talked about the capital side, and another big input, obviously, is people. And we like to try to produce great people that you want to hire and you get to hire.
We hire a lot of them. Yeah.
We appreciate it. So how do you see this affecting your talent strategy as a firm going forward?
One of the decisions we made as a company was to continue with small things, but continue with our intern programs this summer. We felt like that was a way to differentiate ourselves and with the universities to show our commitment to hiring the best and brightest out of the schools. UT certainly being one of those. McCombs a big part of that. So we want to continue that process, and I'm excited. Internships will be remote. It's going to be different, but I think they'll be great. So we're from that standpoint, we're just going to keep going, and we're going to need the talent.
Yeah. Well, and thank you for sticking with us, and we'll stick with you all. And, I think our students are going to be facing decisions as the next couple of years about if they're trying to looking 5, 10, 15 years out post-COVID, how should their training change? How should they think differently? Do you have any advice if you think about where we might be as a society in several years that could help our students?
Yeah, I felt a little bit of the same coming out of 2008 and 9, but I think even more importantly now, the things that we're faced with, you don't learn in school necessarily. You don't, there's not a playbook for what we're trying to do. And so it really heightens the need that you have for people that can solve problems, people that can develop relationships across the organization. We have a big organization, we have different parts of the organization, and being able to work across the organization is so important. And then being able to communicate. You can have the best idea in the world. If you can't communicate the idea and you can't get people behind it, it's not going to be as good as it would be otherwise. So it's these softer skill sets, or what we consider softer skill sets, I think that are going to be real differentiators for people going forward, because there will be times when you have things you've just never seen before, and you have to lean on those skills to work through it.
Yeah, we had Brene Brown out to speak in campus, and she mentioned that these things that we think of as soft skills are often the hard skills. They're hard to do, right? Hard to do well.
Yeah, and really important.
Yeah. And one last question. I've heard people talk about this crisis is increasing digital disruption, and your business obviously is one that people think about as front and center in this question about how you get goods to consumers and that kind of thing. How do you think about this? Is this accelerated the pace of change in your world?
For sure, and it's primarily because the pace of change with customers is you can see it. You can see, over this 8-week period, did we accelerate trends toward e-commerce and other things, by 2 times, 3 times? It's hard to know how quickly it changed. Our strategy of being an omni-channel retailer, having stores and having e-commerce, we've always thought it's the right strategy. I think now that is clearly the right strategy, that customers are going to want to be in stores, but they're also going to want to shop online. And technology is a huge part of that. If you look at our technology spend, Jay, 5 years ago would have been, let's say 10, 15% maybe of our budget. Now it's north of 20, 25% of capital. And so it's really important to what we're going to do as a company going forward.
Yeah, we're talking to the university about this has accelerated our pace of investment in technology as well. Just, there's some short run stuff we had to do, but now and more strategically, I think we're all going to be spending more in that direction.
Yeah, for certain.
Well, Brett, thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule. You said you had investors all day, and so thanks for giving back to the UT community. We really appreciate all you do for us, and wish you all the best at Walmart. And thanks for all you do.
Congrats on your new role.
Thanks a lot. And maybe can we get a hook 'em to close?
Absolutely.
All right. Take care.
All right. Take care. Thanks, Jay.
Thank you.